Hello, something has arrived and I have no idea what it is, so let's find out with my trusty Kershaw knife. What's it? A Kershaw knife. Got someone tell me that this is rubbish, but I like it. Haha. So this is the DarwinFPV CineApe 25, I think. So this is a 2.5-inch CineApe. Darwin FPV are a ultra budget company, but what they do is they're an ultra budget company with a heart. So, they develop these products with a passion for FPV, and you see it in their products because they're cheap, but they sacrifice where you don't really mind them sacrificing, if that makes sense. So this is your soft bumper for the edges, if you want to add that. Got a battery strap here. This is a 4S 2.5-inch CineApe, some stickers, and a manual. Let's have a look here. That is not in English. Well, it's a pretty substantial manual, so that's quite nice, and it's got the electronics information there, which is very handy when you need to do repairs. Okay. What I do like is how they ship it in tiny boxes. It does make shipping a little bit cheaper. So this is the ELRS version. I'm not sure if it is the one with it baked in or if they had to add. Yeah, so this one actually has the ELRS receiver outside the flight controller, which I actually prefer, I must say. Okay, and then quickly having a look. Nice battery strap here. That's very stuck in there. The 3.5-inch one comes with GPS. Now that is quite nice if you are doing more sort of professional work. If you're doing this if you're doing it around a house or something, it is handy to have GPS just to find the drone in a pinch. It's got a Caddx Ant, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I've got them on all my drones and I'm happy. I'm a budget drone flyer and everything for me is about going as cheap as you can for as good as you can for as long as you can. It has the USB-C port here, which is really nice for plugging into Betaflight, so that is very nice. It has a full, is this a full? No, let's have a quick, yeah, that is a full GoPro bracket, so that is nice. If you want to put a full GoPro on, you can. Not really recommended on this device, but I have seen people do full GoPro on these tiny little whoops. I'm just going to really push your electronics and all that. People have complained that this is wired straight to the flight controller, very thin wire for your battery. That is 100% true. And then there's only I don't know if you can see it there. There's only a little cable tie there, and it's actually quite loose now that I feel it. So I think I'm going to have to figure out a way just to secure this a little, because if you pull this, if you're not concentrating and you pull this, you could rip it off, or if there's an accident and the battery flings off, this might rip off the flight controller. So that is a little bit of a design flaw there. The receiver is cable tied to here, which is absolutely fine. So on Banggood, there's one with ELRS and then another one. And what that kind of means is, what I think it means is that one comes with the ELRS baked into the flight controller, and the other one is with it separate. And like I mentioned, I do prefer that. Just a normal wire antenna for the ELRS. I think that's going to be fine. What I'm more concerned about on these Darwin FPV drones is the antenna. Really like shitty dipole antenna on here, which if you are going to get into Darwin FPV drones, I would say just change the dipole antenna immediately. So if you don't have something, order it. Let's have a look here. I'll have to open up to see what sort of, if it's a pigtail connection or what's that, MCX or whatever it's called connection. I'll just have to find out. So what's interesting with this design, they've created a whole sort of cavity in the middle here. So you can use quite a big flight stack here, because what you can see there, where there's a carbon fiber plate here, all the way from there to there, through this thingy, you've got the flight stack. So even though it's a very low profile drone, you're actually getting all the way to the bottom of these protector thingies, all the way through there. You're getting a flight stack, so you can put quite a big flight stack in there. You've got quite a bit of room to build there, so if you ever crash it, you can buy something and you don't have to worry about it being a very small flight stack. Props feel good. So I've watched a lot of reviews and everyone's comments on how good this protector thingy is the ducts. And they have reworked this at least twice that I know of. And I think one of the reworks was to get, so the duct effect, you're not really getting, I've watched a long Joshua Bardwell video on this, but you're not really getting a duct effect with these. I would call them prop guards, not ducts, because you're not really getting a duct effect. What happens with ducts is the original CineWhoop, the props were actually just chopped off inside of the duct, and the duct was a cylinder. So the whole concept is that cylinder is almost like a jet engine pushing air through so that you can use a smaller profile with a lot of thrust, and then you can push a GoPro with it. So that is actually the idea. So what we're really getting here with a multi-prop is just extra thrust because it's a multi-prop, and maybe a very tiny duct effect, but I don't think much. What you're really getting is a drone that can fly in proximity to people without too much danger. That's what it is. Not that that's legal. So if you have the GoPro or the naked GoPro with the little fingers built in, then this will just fit in here. This is going to not, this is very heavy, like a GoPro is so jolly heavy. I think the GoPro Mini would be okay on you. You're going to lose a lot of flight time, but really what I'm busy looking into is getting a kit and buying like a GoPro 7 or GoPro 8, a second hand, and decasing it. It's probably going to be the cheapest route for me. But I've also got a stand for my Insta360 Go, the version 1, which will be my initial plan on this. I'm obviously going to test this, but I don't want to overstrain these motors and stuff. You're going to get a lot less life out of the drone if you're pushing this GoPro Hero 8 the whole time. But you're going to get delicious footage with this thing. So yeah, so I think on the cards for me, the next step is to get a decased GoPro to get that beautiful cinematic footage. I've heard that this is quite good for freestyle. I'm going to take it for a flight and then I'll share that footage. But, you know, these aren't for freestyle. These are for trying to get cinematic footage. The nice thing with the 3.5, so after I bought this, I was like, I wonder if I should have saved for the 3.5. And the nice thing about the 3.5 inch is that it's got that GPS. And the way that they've set this up, if you put some lithium ion batteries on you and a very, very light little camera, maybe a Runcam thumb, you'll be able to do long range flights with that 3.5 inch CineWhoop. So that would be a very sort of do-it-all device, the 3.5 inch. Whereas this, I do have a GPS and I could install it on you. And I probably could actually do some nice long range flights with this, but really, with these props and all that kind of thing, it's not ideal. But yeah, that was a thought that I had about that. Soft bumpers here so that you can just have a nice sort of takeoff thingy here, which I really like. It's also going to create a little bit of a gap between here and the ground so that you can push off the ground. I noticed the cables are a little bit loose here. I don't know if you can see that. They're actually loose. Let's not put the knife there. They're actually loose. They've really... It's tight enough, but you know, if something catches that, it might pull. So I might put just a little piece of tape there, just to give it a little bit of security. And then the other thing I would say with these Darwin FPV drones is just to check your screws, like here, your body screws and that. This does actually use those. I always forget the name of these screws, but it does use these electronic screws. It's not star screws. So I'm just going to get my trusty toolkit when I'm done with this video, and I'm going to quickly just tighten all the screws. The batteries I got are 750 milliamp hour. They recommend 850. So, you know, 750, if I try to push this thing with a 750 battery, I'm going to get like 1 minute flight time. So that's obviously not ideal, but I think the perfect situation is a 750 or 850 4S battery on here, and these chunky ones are nice because it does have a very small load bay here. So get your battery sort of towards the back here, and then have a decased GoPro or an Insta360 Go at the front here, and this will be a very, very nice cinematic setup. I'm actually getting excited just looking at it. Very squeaky little thing there. So I'm going to just go into Betaflight. The one thing I like to check with these, usually they're quite well tuned and set up, but I will make sure that I set up the beeper on here, because on my Darwin BabyApe, they don't have the beeper running straight out of the factory, which is strange. So then, you know, it's geared towards beginners, and our beginners are not going to know how to set up a beeper, and there's no beeper. So I'm going to make sure that that is installed on here. and just make sure everything is good to go. I'm going to link my controller onto this, and this is going to be lovely. I'm going to also, in the flights video, just comment on this dipole antenna. So I'm just going to fly it stock, and then I'll comment on how good it is, how bad it is. If it's anything like my Darwin FPV Babe, it's going to be better than my Darwin FPV BabyApe, because this, as I recall, 600 milliwatt analog VTX. So that is very nice, even with the dipole antenna at the park. And then it does think, so you can convert this to HD. I'm very curious about this new walk snail situation, so I want to check that out. Their LiPo 4S850 is what they recommend. Really great manual, so that is nice. I really appreciate Darwin FPV. I really like the products. I buy from Banggood now. I used to buy directly from their website, but they don't ship to my country anymore. That's it.